afternoon. This is the world news on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. I am Modupe Akinyosoye. Here are the top stories. President Tinubu addresses the nation, acknowledges hardship occasioned by subsidy removal. Organized labor unions insist on strike action. In business, federal government will fund 75 enterprises with 75 billion naira. On the foreign scene, 6 killed in Zelensky's hometown as Russia intensify attack. In sports, Governor Abiodun inaugurates 16-member sport festival, LOC. Details of this and more coming up shortly. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu on Monday night said the federal government has saved over 1 trillion naira since the removal of fuel subsidy. President Tinubu said this in his nationwide broadcast on current economic challenges in the country, adding that the money would now be channeled into intervention programs targeting families nationwide. While acknowledging the hardship occasioned by an unavoidable lag in palliative measures, the president pleaded with Nigerians to look beyond the present temporary pains and aim at the larger picture. President Tinubu also assured civil servants of a new minimum wage. President Bola Tinubu has approved the provision of buses to students of tertiary institutions across the country to ease the burden on the fuel subsidy removal on them. In a statement on Monday by Special Advisor on Communication and Strategy, Dele Alake, the president said the buses would be given to student bodies of all universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education in the country. The president said the move became imperative in the wake of the rising cost of transportation across the country. Meanwhile, President Tinubu has warned federal institutions against arbitrary increase in sundry fees payable amid the hardship experienced by Nigerians due to fuel subsidy removal. And the president also approved the removal of all restrictions on the student loan to ensure it is easily accessible by students. The Senate on Monday commenced the screening of the ministerial nominees. 14 out of the 28 ministerial nominees were screened by the upper legislative chamber during the plenary. Among those screened were former governor of River State, Nyesom Wike, Abubakar Kyari, Nkirika Onyeji-Ocha, Bello Mohammed, Sani Abubakar Danladi, and Badaro Abubakar. Others are Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, Betta Edo, Uju Kennedy Owaneye, Abubakar Momo, John Edo, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, and Yusuf Maitama. The Senate, however, adjourned plenary to Tuesday for the continuation of a screening of other nominees. In another development, the Senate has issued an urgent plea requesting that the Nigeria Labour Congress reconsiders its planned strike action scheduled for Wednesday. The Senate warned that the nation could be plunged into a state of extreme hardship if the strike holds. Addressing the situation, the Senate on Monday emphasized the legislature's commitment to engaging in constructive dialogue with the labor union to address its grievances. The upper chamber further called upon other relevant stakeholders, including the federal government and private sector representatives, to join in the dialogue with the NLC. As the clock ticks towards August the 2nd, the organized labor on Monday night insisted its nationwide strike to protest the removal of petrol subsidy will proceed as planned. The unions comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, the Trade Union Congress, TUC, spoke after a meeting with government representatives at the presidential villa on Monday. The unions expressed doubts regarding the ability of President Bola Tinubu to effectively control inflation and gasoline prices due to the unification of the exchange rate. Reactions have continued to trail the ministerial list released last week Thursday, with some support groups expressing dissatisfaction with the absence of some key figures. The support groups, such as the Presidential Campaign Council, the Southwest Agenda for Ashiwadu Swaga, among others, are feeling neglected and undervalued as they perceive a sense of unfair treatment in the selection process. The group believe that it is essential for the government to acknowledge their efforts and contributions by including them in key roles within the cabinet. The governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has slashed the transportation fares of the state-owned buses by 50% as a way of cushioning the effect of subsidy removal. He added that the state government has also put modalities for commercial buses, better known as DAFO, to reduce their fares by 25%. Governor Sanwo-Olu made the announcement in a media briefing on Monday after a state security council meeting. You are listening to the World News on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Still to come, business, foreign and sport news. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back to the rest of the news. In business and economic news, President Bola Tinubu says his administration would fund at least 75 enterprises with 75 billion naira to boost the manufacturing sector between July 2023 and March 2024. The president revealed this on Monday night in nationwide broadcast to Nigerians. The president said a sum of 125 billion naira would also be earmarked for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. Out of this fund, 50 billion naira would be spent on the conditional grant 1 million nano businesses between now and March next year. On the foreign scene, a missile strike on a residential building killed 6 and wounded dozens in Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's hometown on Monday. 2 missiles landed close to the center of the central Ukrainian city of Kiev. Regional Ukrainian Interior Minister Igor Kaimenko wrote on Telegram. Among the dead was a 10-year-old girl and her 45-year-old mother, while 75 people were injured. Russia said it had intensified attacks on military infrastructure in Ukraine after increasingly frequent drone assaults blamed on Kyiv. In the world of sports, Governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, on Monday inaugurated a 16-member local organizing committee for the 2024 National Sports Festival. Speaking during the inauguration at his office in Okemoso, Abeokuta, Governor Abiodun charged the LOC to put in their best in ensuring that the event becomes a reference point in annals of National Sports Festival in the country. The governor promised to put in place the world-class facilities that would ensure a successful sport festival worthy of emulation. The chairman of the committee and former commissioner of sports in the state, Bukola Olopade, assured the governor of memorable National Sport Festival. And members of the committee include Mr. Adetimeyi Adebajo, Mrs. Modele Sharafa Yusuf, and Mrs. Falilat Ogunkoya Osheku, among others. To end the world news, a quick recap of the major stories. We reported that President Bola Tinubu addressed the nation, acknowledged hardship occasioned by subsidy removal. We told you that organized labor insisted on strike action. In business, federal government to fund 75 enterprises with 75 billion naira. On foreign scene, we told you that 6 killed in President Zelensky's hometown as Russia intensified attack. And in sports, we said Governor Abiodun will inaugurate a 16-member National Sports Festival Local Organizing Committee. The World News was edited and produced by Oluwafisayomi Ajibola. For more news and updates, you can follow us on our social media platform on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Al-IyamoyeTv Radio, on Twitter @Iyamoye_TV, on Instagram @Al-IyamoyeTV Radio. You can also stream live by logging on to our website www.Al-IyamoyeTVRadio.com. Thank you so much for listening. I am Modupe Akinyosoye. Good afternoon.